Right. Well, I think I've made my case already as to what Bitcoin is and Bitcoin isn't with respect to gold. Okay. I pointed out the risks that Michael never seems to want to acknowledge. So now at least people can look into that a little bit more carefully. The idea that rewards come without risk in this world is you can't gloss over that stuff. And I would just want people to understand the risk of what they're getting into. So you can't keep on selling this as a guaranteed winning lottery ticket. And as a cure-all for all the world's ills, some utopian fantasy that you're selling here. This isn't snake oil, and you should stop selling it in that fashion. I know that Bitcoin followers, a lot of them, not all of them, are real idealists. And Michael is promising you that world will be delivered to you. I just don't see it. That's not the world we live in. We live in a very, very competitive, ugly world. And I just don't see he's going to achieve that sort of global utopian vision that Bitcoin is going to answer the problems to everything in this world. The idea that Bitcoin can go up by a factor of 10 times, consume all the value of gold, and then consume all the value of bonds, $300-400 trillion, I just don't see what world that could possibly happen in. It's just, in Michael's world, all you own is Bitcoin. That's the only asset class you own. And that's not the way that you're going. It's just never going to happen in the real world. It's sheer fantasy. And I think that maybe the way you're promoting it, if you only promoted like 10-20% growth, you wouldn't get all of this massive speculation that's going into Bitcoin, which I think is very, very dangerous. But I guess it's easier to promise a 20-bagger or a 100-bagger. But the higher it goes, the more outrageous your claims have to become about what Bitcoin is. And to me, that's very reminiscent of a lot of the research reports I used to read during the dot-com bubble back in 1997 to 99, where they had to justify the price, and to justify the price of some of these crazy assets, they had to make some outrageous assumptions. And this is what I'm seeing here in Bitcoin. Now, I don't want to get personal here, but I just find your style of promotion as misleading and filled with hype, okay? And the one thing that caught my attention, and the reason, the catalyst to why I wanted this debate, is when I heard you say time and time again that people should buy Bitcoin, hold it forever, and if they need any cash, they should borrow against their car, their house, their businesses. That is such a reckless and irresponsible thing to suggest. I will bet that 90% of your 700,000 Twitter followers are not millionaires, never mind billionaires like yourself. And if these guys are levered up and we have an 80% correction or a 50% correction in Bitcoin that lasts a few years, you're going to wipe out a lot of small investors. And that should really concern you. I also don't like the style in which social media is being used to bully critics, using slogans and campaign, the gimmicks and the slogans like the laser eyes and cyber hornets and have fun staying poor, all this stuff. To me, it smells like a cult. It's cult behavior. It's not serious. And I think if you had more confidence in the value of Bitcoin, you wouldn't have to use that kind of language. So here's the bottom line where I'm at with Bitcoin. I think that we live in very uncertain times. I don't think any one of us has experienced an investment climate like the one we're seeing today. Certainly not in many, many generations. And I, unlike you, don't have a crystal ball. I don't have that benefit. So what I like to do is diversify. You never put your eggs in one basket. That is about the dumbest investment advice anybody could give. So my suggestion to investors is diversified portfolio skewed toward hard assets, because I think that's the environment we're in. And that includes real estate, gold, art, and Bitcoin if you like, okay? So buy Bitcoin. Knock yourself out. It's probably going to go higher. I've said that before. But the best strategy might be, if you're going to buy Bitcoin, hedge it with gold, because that is gold's purpose. So when and if the markets crash, and they will crash again because we are in a bubble environment, you'd be doing Michael, you're doing your followers a disservice by telling them to sell their gold. Sure, go ahead and tell them to buy Bitcoin, and if they want to believe everything you're saying about, go for it. But to sell their gold is the worst thing they could be doing, because they will need it as a portfolio diversifier, because it's inversely correlated with what I think Bitcoin is and what equities are. So I'm just asking you to stop with all the hyperbole. I mean, you're selling this utopian fantasy that is going to probably hurt a lot of people. And I just honestly believe, buy Bitcoin, fine, but you have to own gold as your insurance. And I rest my case.